Hey, turn to the people next to you, left and right, and say, man, you look fantastic today. Way to go. Okay, that's enough. Man, y'all are really milking that one. Now turn to the people that you just spoke to and say, just kidding. No, don't do that. How many of you guys are learning something? Y'all learning something? Good, good, good. Okay. We've got some amazing folks again up here. Both of them, not knowing that they did this, said we ought to tell a joke to start. So you ready? What do you call a knight, K-N-I-G, what do you call a knight who is always giving up? Surrender.
I said a funny joke.
That's funny. Give me a break. Okay, guys. Okay, so we've got Francisco, we've got Tiffany. Y'all introduce yourselves to us.
I'm Tiffany Bachman. I've had my license 7 years, and we've had a team here in DFW. We have an office in Denton County and Collin County, and we've had a team for a little over 2.5 years.
Gotcha. So really just having your real estate license for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Francisco.
My name is Francisco Díaz. I'm a real estate agent in Bentonville, Arkansas. I grew up there. That's where I got my real estate license. I've been doing it for 5 years. I've been an executive broker for 1 year. I'm also a fast mentor with Fathom. I've been doing that for about 1 year as well. I went to a community college in Northwest Arkansas, attended the University of Arkansas, got a degree in business management, and it did help me get to where I am now. Throughout college, I was practicing real estate. That helped fund it. But I don't think you need college to be a real estate agent, but it does help. So I always encourage people to pursue higher education. You're all here, so we're all learning.
There you go. So this is higher education.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So let's start at the beginning then, because you 5 years, 7 years, that's not a real long time. So what led you from being an individual agent to wanting to start a team? What led you to do that? Where were you in your life, in your real estate career, the whole thing?
I did not want to do it at all. My husband kind of made me. Honestly, I left a team at Keller Williams. I was there for about 3.5 years. Learned a lot of things that I liked, a lot of things that as a buyer's agent made me feel like crap from my leaders that I didn't want to repeat. And so I came as a solo agent, and my first month here I had 8 listings. I'm like, what the crap? Like, this is a lot. Like, it's great, but it was a lot. And then I just had an opportunity of 2 awesome people coming to me and being like, hey, why don't you start a team? And I'm like, okay. So we started with me and 2 agents, and now we have 20. We have 2 offices now, and we've done over $100 million in volume in 2 years and 8 months.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you actually had the 2 people come to you. What is there a specific reason why they came? What were they looking for? What were they after?
Well, one I used to work with in law enforcement, he came to me because originally I tried to recruit him when I was with KW on a team because I was an expansion leader, and the splits were horrible. And so he just couldn't do it. So after he saw me go out on my own, he's like, I'm ready for it. And I'm like, okay. And then I put a post on Fathom about anyone wanting to join a team, and she joined our team, and she's one of our team leaders right now and still with us. And then Ryan, he started his own top team here in Denton, and I think they did $10 million in volume last year. But we still are great friends, help each other out. It was a good story. But yeah.
That's awesome. It's good.
Yeah.
Francisco, how about you?
So I started off as an independent agent. My first year, I only sold 1 property. So there was a problem. I ended up joining a team myself. I was a team member for about 1.5 years. I learned a ton, but eventually I felt like I capped myself. I had to go create my own culture. I became an independent agent again, and I met the individual who became my assistant. So he started doing transaction coordination for me and many agents. From there, we kind of just grew naturally. We ended up paying him a monthly salary. During that time, my productivity was increasing, but we were doing 12 units, 24 units, to the point where it made sense to bring in newer agents who were also able to use my assistant. So that's how we grew. And my value proposition was, I'm gonna mentor you. I'm gonna have my assistant also help mentor you as well with all the technology that Fathom is offering. How do you navigate MLS? I became a broker, so I was able to help train them on contracts. How do you negotiate? And that's kind of how we grew. So the first few agents I had, one of them I worked with, one of them I met through Fathom, one of them I met in college, and then as my presence and my name began to grow, I started attracting people who came to my team, and we grew more naturally. It was never my intention to have a team, but in my opinion, if you're gonna be a good, productive agent, you need a good group of people, a community who will help you get to where you wanna be.
That's good. We may touch on that a little bit later. What were you gonna say, Ted? You were gonna say something. Y'all both mentioned you learned something previously before starting the team.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Tell me some things that you learned that you said, yes, I'm gonna use this in starting my team, and some things that you said, absolutely not, I'm not gonna do this in starting my team.
Well, the absolutely not, it's a little easier. Like I said, they were great leaders. I learned a lot of really good things, but they did a lot of cherry picking. They had a lot of different agents on different contracts. I'm not for that at all. I don't think that's fair. You have some agents that work their butt off and some that might not. Will give them more leads, don't give them more leads. But I think around one of the best things we've done is everyone knows splits are not negotiable. If you're a team leader, you're on one set of contract. If you're a buyer's agent, you're on another side of contract. There's no difference between any agents. We do have a tier system. So once they get 2 million in volume, their personal goes up, and then 5 million in volume, it goes up more. So it's a strategy to help keep them more motivated and things like that. On the good thing, I mean, there was structure in place. They were genuinely nice people. It's just when you're going in and working, you're hiding off and you see them cherry picking and giving, you know, some agents lead after lead after lead, when you're working just as hard doing your personal volume, but you're not getting leads. Like, people are gonna talk, and then the other agents are gonna get upset, and then it's gonna blow up on you as a team leader, honestly.
That's interesting, because Josh even mentioned that yesterday,
Yeah.
so that's really interesting. Francisco, how about you?
My biggest takeaway being in a team was just the organization the team leader had created. It reminded me a lot of Fathom in a way. My former broker was a former Marine Corps veteran as well, and he was very disciplined, he was very strict. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for somebody to hold me accountable and allow me to be productive, give me the tools. That's all I need. So my biggest takeaway was having consultation packets whenever I meet with a buyer, whenever I meet with a seller, time blocking my agenda whenever I'm lead generating, meeting with clients, etc. So all that structure that my former team had, I knew I had to apply it as an independent agent and as I was creating my team. A couple of things I did not enjoy in my previous team was the culture. It wasn't what I was expecting, as well as the compensation. What my previous team had was likely about 10 or 20 different ways to get compensated depending where the lead was coming from. In my opinion, that created a lot of compensation confusion where an agent is doing a deal not knowing how much they're gonna get paid. So my takeaway was whenever I make my team, it's gonna be a flat split. I don't care if they're family, I don't care if I gave them the lead, if they brought their own lead. It will be a flat commission split. That way there's never any confusion, the commission is non-negotiable. You know what you're walking into and you know clearly what value you'll be getting when you join my team.
Gotcha. And so there's, you mentioned discipline, so even right now you brought that with you, and there's that accountability in your team, you hold them accountable to things, and, okay, gotcha. So what about challenges in growing? I mean, we thought about starting the team, that kind of thing. How about growing? How many agents do you have again, Ted?
We have 20 right now.
Okay, so did it start off just right away, the team members coming, or was it a slow process? How did that happen? What have you learned about growing?
It was a very slow process to begin with, but then we were Zillow Premier agents. I know, don't yell. Some people love it, some don't. Now we're Zillow Flex agents. We're 1 out of 10 teams here in DFW that are Zillow Flex agents. When we were Premier agents, us and our lenders were paying quite a bit for monthly leads. So then we kept growing, but we had a very, very high conversion rate. And so we had to just kind of keep growing to handle those leads. And then now, being on Zillow Flex, one of their biggest things is they want us to grow to at least 40 agents by the end of the year, which is a lot. And so, but we're getting, I think, about $320,000 worth of leads per month. So we have to keep growing to make sure our agents are able to convert,
Sure, absolutely.
so.
So do you have a lot of individual agents knocking on your door, wanting to be on your team, or how does, the other group talked about it, but I found it interesting. How do you kind of sort through that and sift through that as people come to you and say, I want to be on your team?
We get emails quite a bit. We have 3 team leaders. Right now, we have 2 in our Denton office and 1 in Decatur, so we do interviews. One thing for us that's a little different about the hiring process, I always ask or have my team leaders ask, like, why do you want to join a team? If their only reason is for leads, that's a no-go. Like, they're not going to be loyal. They're not going to take advantage of all the other value you can have, you know, as a team. But a lot of the things in the interview process is we're making sure we already have a really good group of agents. We have a lot of strong personalities, including myself. If you know me, I have a strong personality. And so when we're hiring, we're not necessarily looking for the best agent. We're looking for someone that has good morals and will also get along with all the other great agents that we have.
So do your team, you mentioned team leaders.
Yes.
So they're the first interview people when somebody wants to be a part of the team, and do they eventually come to you after that?
Usually the 2 in Denton, I'll let them interview together. I'll usually interview with the 1 in Decatur because we're trying to get one more team leader out there. Sometimes they'll do them on their own. Sometimes they're like, hey, you know, this is a military vet man, let's have Greg in on there. You know what I mean? So it just kind of depends on the situation.
Okay, awesome.
But we do ads on Wise Hire, just with the we've actually brought a lot of agents from other brokerages with Wise Hire. I think it's like $300 a month recruiting website, but we've been able to bring a lot of agents to other brokerages to Fathom for that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so.
Francisco, how about you? Lessons learned in growing the team. What's going on there?
With growing the team, you have to bring the right people. My biggest thing is having good culture. I don't want to bring anybody who's going to bring negativity to my team, that bad apple, any drama. I don't appreciate none of that. So that's one of my requirements, that if I sense that they're already talking bad about their previous employer, they're talking bad about other agents, they have that rivalry mindset, it's not going to be a good fit. My team, we're more of a community. We like encouraging each other. We like taking on challenges, but at the end of the day, we're all a team. So with growing, that's why filter in. There are a few people I've had to filter out as well. Whenever I start getting many agents coming to me saying, hey, this agent has done this agent has done that, I'm not getting a good vibe, they're not producing well, it is a sign.
Yeah.
And one takeaway I have as well, my fiance has a very good gut feeling about everybody. So whenever I'm about to bring somebody on, I always ask.
So none of us want to meet his fiance.
Well, not just her, but with all due respect, I feel that women always have a good gut feeling about how people truly are. For me, I just see like the outside perspective of who somebody is telling me they are. But whenever I bring her on board, she's very involved in my team. I know who is going to stay with me, and I know who is likely being fake, for lack of better words, and it's not going to be a good fit. So whenever I'm able to interview somebody and say, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? Do you want to go grab a drink, grab coffee? Bring your spouse if you like, bring your family, whatever. We get a good vibe of what the culture is going to be. How are they on a personal level? And that will reflect how they will be in the business setting.
That's awesome. So kind of playing off that a little bit, the culture part of it, the leading the team, you know, and you mentioned coffee, that kind of thing. Do you guys meet with your individual team members? Is it kind of a scheduled thing? Is it kind of organic? How does that happen for you to kind of interact and grow relationship with them?
We do bi-weekly team meetings. We usually do once a month. I'm big on making it fun and not just about real estate. So usually once a month we'll go to happy hour, go eat. We also do an incentive trip for our top producing agents. Our first year we took them to Vegas. Last year we took them to Tahoe. We always want to add that fun component and the family component of everything too, because I feel like in the long run it's going to help with the longevity of them staying, because we are a family, but we fight like a family too sometimes, and especially with a lot of, you know, females, nothing against that, but you know, most of our men are super laid back, but with females we become all so close, like a family, and then someone might get mad at somebody and then all this stuff. So it's not always a great thing, but we feel like if I'm there for them personally, if they're going through a divorce, if they're having a baby, if they're sick, like COVID, we had one family member die. One of our agent's spouse passed away, and then one of our agents was in the hospital for like 3 months, and then on an oxygen tank, and another one was sick. So we just all pulled together to help them out as much as we can, because we're a family, that's what we do.
So they really feel that you care.
I hope
Yeah,
so. I mean,
yeah.
they tell me they do, so I hope so.
We won't tell
I
them
truly
anything
do
different.
care,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do.
Sometimes that you care too much, and that's, sorry. When you're starting a team, like I took things very personally all the time. You're gonna have to get that out of your head, because you're gonna get your feelings hurt a lot. People are gonna leave for reasons that are beyond your control, but at the end of the day, like, teams are not meant for everybody. And it's not as easy as it looks starting a team as, I don't know if that's as what it looks like. I know for me, I was like, oh, this will be easy, and it's not easy at all.
Yeah.
And it does take away from your full production too. So, I mean, I'm a very low production right now because it's a full-time job running a 20-member team.
Sure, absolutely.
So,
And Francisco, how about you?
So we do have a weekly meeting. We do it every Monday at 4:30 p.m. We used to do it Monday morning, but I started feeling that many people after the weekend, they had a ton of workload accumulate on Monday. All the lenders, title companies, other agents are contacting you Monday morning, so it did become a bit hectic. Monday afternoon has been working best for us, and we like to make it fun. So we always meet at a coffee shop. This past Monday, we actually met at a winery, and that was fun. So some of us brought our spouses. We talked about real estate. We talked about new listings we have coming up, what our team has in the plans, a community event that we're wanting to do this summer. So I do think it's important that you're going to have a team. You need to have that team atmosphere. You need to actually be a team, meet with each other, even though we're virtual. That might be mean. Even if we are a virtual company, that's not a problem. We can always meet at a coffee shop. We still have an office in Arkansas that we can meet at. We can meet at properties, but it's important that our team members feel that community atmosphere throughout their business.
Sure. And so you do have a brick and mortar in Arkansas?
We do in Arkansas.
Okay. Tim,
It's a small office.
Do you have one, Tim?
we have one in Denton County, and we have one in Wise County, and we're about to build, we're getting a new office space in Denton County because we've grown so much, we've outgrown where we're at now.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all, you both talked about, you mentioned bad apple earlier, and then you mentioned some issues that can happen within the team. So when that happens, do you address it individually? What's kind of a thought, to kind of settle things, settle differences, or maybe even if you had to let people go? I know that's a tough conversation to have. Any insight, any thoughts on that?
I know I made a lot of mistakes personally, kind of like what they were saying before us was, I think when it's time for people to go, but sometimes you necessarily don't want them to, but they are causing a lot of unnecessary drama, and when you have 2 or 3 other agents having problems and the same problems, then you know where the problem actually is coming from. And so it's harder to do, but that's definitely part of my mistakes, is I could kind of let it just go and go. But I know some agents have a 1-year contract. I don't personally believe in that, because I'm like, I don't want someone to be here that doesn't want to be here. I don't want them to start getting unhappy or causing drama at 6 months and 9 months and have to fulfill the rest of that contract. So a lot of that my husband handles. He's retired Marine and Army, and he's a lot more calm and nicer than I am. And so a lot of times when there's tension, he's the one that handles that part of it.
So what you're saying is we can hire your fiance to interview and her husband to help inspire them. Francisco, how about you? How do you deal with the conflicts, the issues that come up now and then?
I'm a believer you have to address it immediately, but in a private setting. So I always pull them to the side, and we'll have a conversation of what I think was an issue and how we can resolve it. That will often work, because many people might not even catch themselves saying negative things to another individual until you call them out on it. But if it continues to happen after many conversations with various agents, within clients, whomever, then that's whenever you start getting that signal, that red flag, it might be time to part ways. That's with dealing with the bad apple. But At times, we also have agents who might not be producing, and they might not be all in real estate. And in those cases, you have to pull them to the side as well and find out what is your priority. Do you actually want to be an agent for me to continue to invest money and time into you? Or is your priority elsewhere? And there's nothing wrong with that. We've had agents part ways because they're pursuing an MBA. Maybe they join the Chambers of Commerce. In those cases, we part ways, and even now, agents who I've had to let go have sent us clientele referrals because they kept their license active, but they genuinely had no time to be an agent. In those cases, in my opinion, you're not going to be a good fit for our team because we are a producing team. We're a family, we're going to invest in each other, but you have to produce.
Gotcha. So for you, for instance, how do you, do you have a lot of agents knocking on your door? How does that work for you in recruiting team members or?
Since I started real estate, I've always been growing naturally with my clientele and with my team. So I don't actively recruit. I do have many agents contact me. They see that I'm producing, they see my name around. They know I have a good presence in the Hispanic market. So they'll meet with me, we'll have a conversation. And if we both think it's a good fit, then we'll bring them on board. If either of us don't think it'll be a good fit, then we'll just remain friends.
Gotcha. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so goals for this next year are, when you set goals for 2022, how did that go about and what are your goals for this year?
Yeah, so.
You can always tell who's going to process it because they look at the other person.
I have them in
you
my
want to go
notes.
first?
I have them in my notes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So my team goal for 2022, I personally want to continue doing at least 5 deals per month consistently. And every team member, I did make a requirement that we want them and expect 2 deals per month. After they've been involved in our training, they know the ins and outs of real estate. You have to be lead generating, you have to be productive, you have to implement everything we talk about. And doing 2 deals a month should be pretty simple in our market, especially if you're going to be within our team. So that's what we're shooting for, about 180 units in volume for 2022.
Gotcha, okay. And Tiff, what about you?
So per my notes.
Yeah.
We're getting a bigger office space for our Denton agents. I want all of our agents to be top producing agents with $3 million or more in volume each. And then we're looking to grow because of the Flex program with several more agents and looking to take over at least 1 or 2 different market centers.
Gotcha, okay. So when you talk about your agents, getting their leads, and I know you're getting leads for your agents, and do you do the same thing, Francisco, or how do you expect, are you providing leads? I mean, your value proposition you said earlier was more mentoring, training, coaching, that kind of thing, which is awesome, but are you giving leads as well?
I don't pay for leads. I keep track of where all my clientele has came from the past few years, and it's been sphere of influence, referrals, and social media. My clientele being Hispanic, being millennials, they're huge on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I don't do TikTok, but my team members do. Those people who contact me, I do refer them out and delegate that to my team members, but I'm not actively paying for leads. And due to that, I am able to offer a more conservative split with my team members while still being profitable, because my only expense is my time, mentoring, training, and even then it'll only be the first few months that I invest into them, and as long as we have that value proposition long term, they will remain with the team.
Gotcha, that's fantastic. So you guys, as you look toward the future, are you helping your agents set individual goals as well? Or are you just setting, the broad team goal and everybody just buys in? Or do you meet with them and say, okay guys, let's look at your goals as well and kind of help them set goals? What's your strategy there?
Every year we do like a team vision board, like party, I guess you could say, to where they come up with 3 personal goals, 3 professional goals, because we want them to have other goals that they're going to meet that are just not professional, like taking their kids to Disney World, or going on a vacation with a husband, or buying a car, things like that. So we usually stick with that, and then halfway through the year we'll kind of get on track to make sure they're on track to where they wanted to be, because those are their goals, but we have those goals for them too, because obviously we want them all to be top producing agents as well.
That's really cool, because what I hear you saying too is you're concerned about their personal life as well as their professional life. So there's kind of that life-work balance, and that's how they know they do care, I know as well. So Francisco, how about you?
So I'm huge on motivation. We talk about that whenever we interview the team member coming on board. I need to know why you want to be an agent. Why are you motivated to join my team? If it's just about the money, I'm not interested. You're gonna put your needs ahead of the clients, and that's not okay. But whenever they start talking about, hey, I wanna build a pool in my backyard this year. I want to buy another property. I wanna have financial stability. I wanna quit my part-time or full-time job. That's motivation. So whenever we have our one-on-ones with newer agents especially, I'm always able to reflect back on what their motivation was. I need to find out what is their income goal for the year, and then we'll break it down. How much do you need to make per month? How many deals do you need to make? How many deals do you need to close to make that commission? And how can we get you into that productivity? And one easy way I break it down is simply doing 2 deals a month as a team member in my market. You're making 6 figures without a doubt with 2 deals a month. And most agents, when they realize that 2 deals a month is not that much. It's pretty simple to do.
Yeah, okay, awesome. We've got about 5 minutes left, guys, so we want to do the Q&A again. So we're going to make Julie run all the way up to the front row.
I'm really loud.
Oh, she's lowered. I think we want it on the mic for the recording,
Oh, okay.
though. Is that correct, Julie? Okay, so she's making her way up here. And while she's doing that, I want to let you know that I think it's Jackie McDonald's birthday, too. And she's got the ears right there. So let's happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear Jackie. Man, y'all said happy birthday to you. That was horrible. It's hot. We're never going to have you be a choir, that's for sure. Stick to real estate. Okay, what's your question?
I'm Carla Ross. I'm from Lubbock, Texas, and I'm actually here to decide if I want to start a team or not. So, Francisco, you said that you're a mentor in the FAST program, which I am as well. So do you run your agents officially through the mentor program, or do you still run them through the same materials but not on the financial part of the mentor program, or how do you incorporate that?
Good question. So I was a team leader before I was a mentor. And as a team leader, I had all my training packets, I had all my consultation packets, I had my team splits. So anybody who was attracted to my team, at the time I became a mentor, they stayed in my team model. And I do my best not to have any conflict of interest. Anybody who was referred to me through Fathom as a mentee, then I will mentor them per the mentor guidelines as a mentor. So we'll go through the weekly training. We'll talk about all the options they have being with Fathom. How can you get into productivity? I do let them know that they can either be a solo agent or join a team. But if they want to join a team, I do want them to interview all the teams that are in my market within Fathom and have them join where they best fit.
Cool. Somebody else, thanks.
Thank you.
Somebody else, another question. Over here on this side. We do this on purpose, Tiffany.
Julie.
I mean, Julie. Sorry.
I'll have it.
Julie, Tiffany.
This question is for Francisco. My name is Dan Lang. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. Francisco, you mentioned systems and accountability. Specifically, my experience has been this one issue with you do accountability-wise, with agents not following up on those leads that you're providing. So you said you meet with your agents on Mondays at 4:30. What are those discussions that you have as far as, you've got the goals laid out that they have. What's your conversation, or what are you tracking from the leads that they're working in those conversations?
Good question. So every lead that I have, one thing I was told starting off was you need to have a database, and Fathom does a good job with providing us a database to begin with. And as a team leader, you can insert the lead on the database and then refer them to your team member. And my requirement is anytime you contact a lead, you have to make notes on that database in order for me to know that you actually followed up. Another example would be driving here from Arkansas yesterday afternoon. I had a few phone calls. I had signed calls. I told my agents, hey, go ahead and contact them. please let me know how the conversation goes. I'm expecting them to follow up immediately. As soon as they have some minutes set aside to make a phone call, I expect them to call them. Depending how the conversation goes, I expect them to follow up with it. If I find out that after a week or 2 weeks they never followed up, the lead went elsewhere, the lead went cold, they have no idea what that lead was regarding, then I make a mental note. They're not going to be my primary agent to refer a lead to, especially a good lead in the $500,000 price point. So that's a bit of the accountability I do. One thing that Tiffany mentioned was in her team they don't have contracts. I do. I have a 1-year minimum contract that they have to remain with the team. However, I do have a clause in there that if at any point in time we're not a match, we can terminate that relationship. Primarily, I'll be the one letting them know, hey, if you're not doing any open houses, if you're not attending team meetings, you're not following up with my leads, you're not being productive, you're not a part of my team, then we need to cut the ties. But the reason I have a contract is because after you pour so much time, money into that team member, I do want that commitment that we will see that return down the road. And with the one-on-ones, I do my best to not be as strict with my agents, but I still hold them accountable to that 2 deals a month. And if you're not there, what do we need to do to get you there? And so on and so forth.
So we definitely do have a team contract. I just don't have it to where it's like a year contract. If we can terminate them at any time, but if they give notice, they have to give a 45-day notice. Because with us, especially for leads, when agents are going to leave teams, they usually know several weeks in advance. So it's a protection for our team because if an agent leaves, they've been answering Zillow calls all week, so they knew they were going to leave. And so it's a protection for us. It's a 45-day notice. Anything they close, whether it's personal, team, anything in that 40 days, or 45 days, it's a split just like normal. And then if they close anything team afterwards, it follows the split as being on the team. Like for a protection, you have to have a contract. And especially with we're giving out almost 250 leads a month. For our protection, we have to have that 45-day notice clause in there because what will happen is they want to take all these team leads with them and then tell their clients, oh, I'm going to leave a team, give me about 2 weeks and then I'll list your house because they want the full income of that one. You know what I mean? But it will happen, so be very careful and make sure y'all all have contracts in place, for sure.
I think our time is up. And so thank you guys so much. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you so much. I call it the prenup as a team leader, like same premise in our personal lives. You want to have it as a team leader too. Like if this doesn't work out.